Growth isn't always loud or aesthetic. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Grow with Lorom and I'm happy to have you here. Today I'll be sharing with us three things that I've learned in this season of growth at Lorom Beauty Mart. So this season I'm in a season where I'm growing, yes, growing my business. And the first thing that I've learned is that growth is not always loud or aesthetic. Sometimes we assume that if it's loud, if it's flashy, if it's glamorous, then it has to be growth. And if it's not that, then it's not growth yet. But that's not always true. Let me tell you something, or let's picture this. If you walk into a house and you look at the dining table and you see a can of milk, you know, you assume you assume that milk would be what would be in the container, right? But sometimes it's not milk that is in there. Sometimes it's just something else that has been poured into that container. That container signifies, it's an attribute of that milk being present, but it's not always milk that is in there. It could be loud and not be growth. It could be glamorous, it could be flashy and not be growth. And sometimes you could also have that milk poured into a plastic container, something else that it's less branded, less flashy, less attractive, but that's milk. And the same, it's going to give the what we're focused on is the milk, the value that the milk brings, not the container that it's inside. So is the container important? Definitely. We're not even talking down on that. So you know I'll share something with us. So in 2024, my business moved from an online business to a physical store, a physical shop, and I remember when that happened, I it didn't really feel like it was growth. Initially, of course, the joy of having a business and all of that, but then if you have when you open a business newly, you need to build a customer base before things start looking like they are happening, that. So it wasn't really looking like that, and then I was doing a lot of comparing my life with that of my classmates, people who have moved on. I would scroll through the internet and I would see through social media, I would see them in their offices, in their dressed up and all of those things. Of course I was not jealous. That's not even it. I wasn't jealous, but I was judging myself very badly, very harshly, because it felt like I wasn't moving forward. It felt like I was stagnated. It felt like I wasn't making progress. And I remember at a point I got very depressed because prior to that I'd been in the corporate sector, the white collar job thing, and I know while I was working, I used to take pictures every day at work. Yes, that's something like we must do. When you dress up, you take pictures, you get it. So I used to take pictures every day, make videos every day, and now I wasn't doing that because, come to think of it, there was no fancy building for me to, take your shots on. So even when you want to take picture in the shop, it's not looking like, it's not giving. So, and somehow I was dressing down because I had to do quite physical jobs like lifting cartons, dealing with dust and everything. So I didn't feel like the environment was deserving of my clothes, or the nature of the job. Of course it was a job. I didn't feel like the nature of the job was deserving of my clothes. So it just felt like I had taken 1,000 steps backward. So at a point I had to reach out to my pastor, mentors, friends, everyone. I told them I was looking for a job, and I was sending out CVs. I was asking for referrals and everything. Offers were coming, interviews were coming, and everything. But sincerely, they were not the kind of things I wanted. They were not the. I feel like I felt like they were pricing me down, and I felt like it wasn't worth it. At the end of it, I'll just look at it like I you know so that continued, and I just felt like I would get back. I'll get back to this thing. Probably I'll just find a way to. But I couldn't give up my business at that point because I'm somebody who is quite attached to my business, and I felt like I had come too far. Of course, I had, from 2021, from selling 3 mil perfume oils, from starting with a dozen, from looking for 3,600. Eh, that was a miracle, to even start the business, and then get to this point. You've paid shop rent, you've stocked the shop with products. Who do you want to leave it for? Like, so it was like between the devil and the deep blue sea, right? That's how they say it. That kind of thing. So, but in 2025, I remember there was this day I was at the shop. One of those days, somebody who likes to play with numbers, and I was just randomly, you know, I was just like, things I've sold today. I've sold this. I bought it at this price. I sold it at this price. I bought this one at this price. I sold it at this price. I just tried to do a mental check of the things, the items I had sold that day, and how much I sold them. And I looked and I was like, what? I've not even calculated everything I sold today. Just these few items that I can remember. You mean I've made this amount today? Like, which employer is going to pay me this? Which employer is going to pay me this? And then my business wasn't even like, we're still trying to gain visibility. I'm like, I was like, what? So that leads me to my second point, which is growth is in discipline and structure. Sh- um, you know, Showing up when you feel tired, showing up when you don't feel like doing it, building discipline around consistency, building structure around your finances and everything. Because I'm somebody that from the onset of my business, I've always had structure around my business finances. But one thing I always do is that as I progress, I take it a bar higher. I do more. What I was doing in 2021 isn't what I was doing in 2024, isn't what I was doing in 2025, and 2026 I've, you understand. So, and I know that before the year runs out, I would have. So we keep building structure, we keep organizing it. It's not a perfect system. We keep perfecting it. We keep improving on it. That's the word. We keep improving on it. But the little one that we've started helps us to move over to the next step. So I was like, okay, the showing up and everything. I wasn't always that 2020 after 2024. I wasn't always regular, and I wasn't always punctual. By 2025, I improved on my regularity. I was being very regular, even though I wasn't being punctual. By towards the end of the year, even my punctuality, improved and everything. And I noticed that the more I worked on these things, and the fact that I had built some structures around my numbers and this thing, I was able to monitor. The structures really helped me because I'm somebody who is very motivated with numbers. I love numbers a lot. Even at my free time, I'll just bring up my phone and just do some imaginary calculations and everything. So having numbers, legit numbers, it has always helped me. So building structures, and there's this scripture I always speak over myself and over Lorom. I always enlarge the place of your habitation and everything. So for me, whenever I say that, I'm also saying to, as I'm speaking prophetically over myself and my business with that scripture, I'm also telling myself at the moment that I should organize things, I should build systems, I should build structures, put things in place. I always have it at the back of my mind that probably, of course, there's always something we're asking God for, like the next level and everything, and I'll tell myself this one is done. The reason why I've not gotten to this is that I've not shown capacity to handle this, and it has always been that. I've noticed it that each time I put my house in order, the more that I break into a new level without even, like, no. And I just tell myself, if there's any growth I'm aspiring to reach and I haven't seen now, it's because I've not done my assignments. Like, whenever I'm asking for something, like, and there's something for me to do, I will always have that inner witness that look at what you're supposed to do. If you do this, you will have this. If you do this, and by God's grace, I always try to like I try. So and the moment it might not be immediately, it might not. It's not that ones that I remember. There's one I'll still talk about. That one took me quite some time, but the moment I did it, that one spanned like over 6 months. But the moment I did it, I God just gave me, and just like that. So that's it about building structure. Growth, that growth is in discipline and structure. The more disciplined you become, the more structure you build, the more growth that you will experience. And the third one is faith. Believe. Believe that that thing that you want, as far as it's according to the will of God, you're going to get it. It might not look like it's happening, it might not look like there is, there is progress and everything, but as far as it's according to the will of God, this one, it will happen. That's something that has helped me so much. I don't even want to get into the details of that, but I've seen it both in terms of sales, in terms of numbers, in terms of, I've had periods where it's like it's a closed heaven, like no sales, very terrible sales. And the moment I take it to God, like those things, I know they panic for those things. So it was my very first experience with it that it got to me. After that time, I learned my lesson. Once it happens like that, I'll just be like, okay, now we'll go run it down, and we're just gonna battle it out. And God shows up every time it happens. So if you're watching this and you're judging yourself too hard, you're feeling like you're not making progress, things are not, just check. Maybe maybe the growth is happening, but you're not really seeing it. And maybe you need to build some structures. Maybe if you have some structures, you'll be able to know that you're growing, because structures helped me realize I was growing. So what are the structures that you feel you need to build around your life or your career or your business, whatever it is that you're doing right now? If you're a small business owner, what structures are you building around your business? And let's talk. Let me hear your opinion. Please, if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would like to see your comments. I would like to know what you think. I would like to hear your opinion. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.